What's up, everybody? Beth Dryer. Hey. Hi from Canada. I got some good friends from Canada. I do not agree with South Park to hate blame Canada. Hey, Keith Morales. Good to see you again, dude. Fort Worth, Alabama, Laredo, Texas. Let's see what we're listening to. Ready? House Fires, Chicago, South Carolina, San Diego, Alabama. Jen, newbie from Bama. Well, welcome. We're going to talk about immune system. Grand Lake. How am I feeling? Decent. I'm not perfect, but we're rocking it. Barb from Waxahachie. Hey, girl. Yeah, I know. I'm all right. But I saw patients this morning. No fever this morning. Got done with patients. British Columbia. Hey. Got done with patients and felt junky after. And I have amazing in-laws, and they picked the kids up from school. And that's what I was going to do. They kept them so I could come back and do things to help boost my immune system that I'm going to help you guys with. Florida, Arizona, and we got people from all over. Good. I'm glad you're loving the scopes. Troy, Alabama. I loved coming to Troy with you guys. I loved that town. It was fun. The history of that town was super cool. Rachel in Alabama, Haltom City. Birmingham, Squiggles. That's right. I'm a squiggle. I'm not a square. Or a triangle or any of those. I'm a squiggle in a circle wrapped in a Rubik's Cube. Okay, Oklahoma, West Texas. Life-changing periscopes. I'm glad. Snyder, Texas. I have family in Snyder, Texas. The McLeods are my family in Snyder, Texas. Helen McLeod is my aunt. You probably know this. That's why you're on the scope. If you don't, that is hilarious. So, yeah, you didn't. So at the bank there, Helen and Mike McLeod, that is my aunt and uncle. So there you go. Connections right there. We're practically family. Love the first scope. Good. Well, let's rock through this scope. Let me turn this music down. That way I can hear you guys. Not really. That way you can hear me. All right. So it was the first scope on immune system. Hey, South Carolina. Immune system was good. Yes, it was a good start for you guys. A 1 if it was helpful. Because what I want to do is give you guys some really good things to be able to understand how it works, understand how the systems are created so that you can better understand how to support them. I mean, even that's it, you know. All of the different systems in the body are created perfect. We talk about this every time. And they're created simply. Good. One's going up. Yeah, I can always hear you, Keith, right? They're created perfectly and simply. It's just that we confuse them. We mess them up. We make things a lot more complicated than they need to be, that they were ever intended to be. And it makes it to where our health isn't where it should be. You know, I had another person the other night I was teaching, for our awesome upline in Plano. And we were teaching for a men's class, and I had somebody afterwards tell me, that it said something about a health challenge. And they said, yeah, I'm just excited for God to heal me on that. And I said, well, he already did. Like, there's no waiting on that. He created the body to heal itself, and he created everything to heal perfectly from the very beginning. So the healing's already there. Our job is to not mess it up, and our job is to get back to that. Our job is to literally go, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do in order to help the body heal as fast as possible and get back to where it was? I'm in Texas. I'm near Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a crazy chiropractor down here that specializes in loving on people and function and helping you guys learn the potential of function that you have, okay? Denver, Colorado, sweet, okay. All right, now, for any of the scopes that I've done and all the videos, and we got a ton of them because you knew me, JB likes to talk. So I upload them later on to YouTube for you guys, so you could read them later on and watch them later on. Read them. You can read them too if you want, but that way you can go back through in case you didn't catch all of it, because I know Periscope doesn't let you rewind and stuff, and it's only on for 24 hours. So the website is family-wellness.com. family-wellness.com. And when you get on there, if you go to the top right, there are links on there for I'm going to something I just posted on the Office page that I don't know if you guys saw or not. There are links on there for the Office Facebook page, for the Twitter account, and for the YouTube channel. Now, you guys are the first ones that I've told about this, okay? You guys are the first ones I've told about this, and I've been working on this for a little while, and I waited to put this out so that I made sure that the videos and everything were available on this for you. But we just opened this up. We just launched this for y'all to be able to have more access to information, okay? Yeah, you can totally do that. I don't like it. I don't like Catch.me because it's just one more thing for people to use. So I put them on YouTube. It's way more streamlined, and I like that. But a lot of people use it, and that's great for them. That's good. So I'm going to show you guys. We just launched this. Literally, I'm launching it today. We've had it, and we've been playing with it for a little while. But check this out. Boom. Now, I have an app that we just created so that you guys can actually log on, and you can stream the videos straight off of an app. You can share the videos straight off of the app. You can share the Office Facebook page right off of the app. And this cool thing is only 99 cents. I mean, how freaking cool is that? I know, right? It's super sweet. So this is available for iPhone and for Android. I know. I thought it was awesome too. Look at that tree. Trees are prophetic. I totally think so, and that's why I picked the tree, and Cindy and I love the tree. So go to the store on that, iTunes store, and grab it. How about that? Isn't that awesome? I've got a great tech team, and we created that, and we have been working on it. There's a couple little things on it, so what I need you guys to do is I need you to go get it, and I need you to start using it and play with it, and then I need you to send me feedback. On that one, send me feedback on the Office Facebook page, so that it's the Office app. It's called Lifetime Family Wellness Center after the Office. So, and this is just so that it's easier access. You're not having to scroll through Facebook on your phone to find something. If you're out and about, you can literally hit it. You go straight to it, and it's all like MP3'd up, and the videos are right there, and you can share the videos straight from the app, which is huge, so huge, so much easier. So, and it doesn't take up all that memory on your phone, which is fantastic. So what I need you to do, though, is I need feedback on little things that need to change on it, because this thing's still a work in process, and so it's a little baby of mine. So get the app. Like I said, 99 cents for you guys to be able to download all that information, so that we can update it and do things for you, and let me know what things are working, what things are not. There's some goofy videos on there that got uploaded from YouTube of like my kids dancing, which was random. So I've got to go back and make those private, which I thought was hilarious. So, you know, you'll see Ellie in her underwear, I think, dancing on one of them, which Cindy and I bust out laughing when we, the video thing went live. So check it out. But we're really excited about that because it gives us better access to give you guys more information. That's it. That's our passion, is teaching you guys how the body works as easily and as simply as possible. Because everything else is complicated enough. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is complicated enough. So I'll talk about that again in a minute, but share that around. That'll be great. Yes, thanks. I think it's awesome too. It works good. It looks good. And it's simple. It's a really simple app. And there's places there for you guys to leave feedback and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So play with that and let me know what you think. Okay. They are adorable, but they're just random. It's like thyroid, Harper dancing when he was 2, adrenals, Ellie like speaking, whatever language. So it's really funny. Okay. You don't have to leave to do it. You can get it in a minute. You can go back and look at it. It's the Lifetime Family Wellness Center app. All right, you guys ready to talk about some Immuno-BLOCKERs? And I'm going to show you what I'm doing right now because I'm still boosting my immune system, right? I know. It's totally it. It's like you're looking for all your business stuff and you pull it out and there's like kids' underwear and socks and stuff like that. I know. So here I am boosting my immune system before I get on with you guys, spraying this Thieves spray in my mouth, which you can do, and it's amazing. And you can spray it on your hands. You can do whatever you want with that. I'm sitting here chugging colloidal silver, because colloidal silver helps to boost the immune system. I'm also downing Ningxia and kombucha. Remember we talked about the cultures? Yeah, I actually chug a lot of stuff. I know, isn't that funny? Like people are like, you take a lot of supplements. I do. I can handle a lot of supplements. So maybe swigging is a better word than chugging, but swigging's good. This is Ningxia Red and kombucha. I do like 4 ounces of Ningxia. I know that's a lot. With a bunch of kombucha in there, and so knock that out. Sovereign Silver is a good brand. Absolutely. The thing I always make sure is just make sure it's not a real high parts per million. I'll talk about that in a minute. This one's only 10 parts per million we get from a local company. So as long as it's not super high, you're good. There's a couple that were like 200 parts per million, and that is way too high. For you guys to have convenience and stuff, my favorite type of kombucha right now is called Buddha's Brew, and that's what we use right now. I've made our own for a long time. We have a recipe on our website for kombucha to make yourself, and it's awesome. I just don't have the time or the counter space right now to do it because it does take time, and I'm a control freak about it, and I'm a perfectionist. So, Thieves has hand sanitizer. They came out with the big bottles this year at convention, which was like, oh, large bottle, and we were excited. So check that. This goes with our kids to school in each of their backpacks so that they actually use one that works instead of Purell and the other ones that do not. So check it out. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some Immuno-BLOCKERS, and then good. You guys check it out. Yeah. Me, a perfectionist. What? Let's talk about some Immuno-BLOCKERS. I'm going to roll through some things that are going to not allow your immune system to work well. And so by contrast on that, if you can get these things out as much as possible, as much as you can control, your immune system will go up. That's the way it's designed. I'll take more questions at the end, so I'm not ignoring you. So if you're new to my scopes, I'll talk and chit chat at the beginning. We'll roll into the info so I can give you guys the info we need to get through so that I don't have you on here for 2 hours because we'd be talking all day. And then at the end, I'll take some questions and we'll answer them, and then I'll post this video. I'll actually post this one tonight so you guys can see it. So, only other plug today, War Room, the new movie with Priscilla Schreier's out and Michael Jr. on Power of Prayer. Go check that out. It's going to be good. Okay? All right, so let's talk about, that's my only last plug on the thing. Let's talk about the number one thing that's going to not allow your immune system to work the way that it's supposed to. Number one thing. What do you guys think it is, right? I'm going to give you guys 2 guesses, and the second one doesn't count. And I talk about this all the time. The number one thing that is going to not allow your immune system to work. Come on. Nope. Oh, there it is. Nicole got it. Stress. Yep. Now, we're going to talk about the others because you guys are spot on, and we're going to talk about why. But stress is the number one thing. The number one reason that people's systems, I always flip it over. The number one reason that people's systems do not work the way that they should is stress. Now, the way that this works, and in this context of stress, I'm going to talk about emotional stress, right? Because I'm going to go through the 2 other types of stress that are involved with changing the way the body functions and creating symptoms, and in this situation, creating a lack of immune function, right? So we're not going to go over any named stuff, but I'm going to talk about overall function of the system. So with this, I'm going to talk about emotional stress first. Then we're going to talk about physical and dietary stressors. And we're going to talk about what to really watch to help your system work as good as possible and your kids so that they have the best chance at fighting off whatever they come in contact with. Because it is not an option to not come in contact with foreign invaders, with antigens or germs or whatever you want to call them. It is not an option. That's not going to happen, right? Unless you're going to live in a bubble. And ain't nobody got time for that. And that's just not fun. That's just not social. And for like social blues like me, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to come in contact with a lot of things that my body doesn't need. So what I have to do is I am feeling a little bit better, Paul. Thanks, man. Because I'm dosing it up, baby. I mean, we're like rocking it in the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you things to do to help your body work better. Okay. And then what happens is when you get to the point of coming in contact with something you shouldn't have, then your body can fight it off. Does that make sense? It's like the difference in a soldier who's never been trained and a soldier who's ultra trained. So let's talk about Captain America, because you know how I like using movie references, right? And so you remember on Captain America, the first movie? If you haven't seen this, then bear with me. You can look it up. But Captain America, the guy that plays Captain America, before he becomes Captain America, he is a little bitty scrawny guy that is passionate and is passionate about serving his country and is passionate about going to war, but he's really weak. He's really weak genetics, no muscle, and he's a little geeky guy that gets beat up all the time. That's your immune system with no help. You are him before he becomes Captain America, okay? And so if you don't boost your immune system on a daily basis, your immune system looks like him. A little scrawny, skinny guy trying to pick a fight and getting his tail kicked every single time, right? Now, once you work on your immune system and you boost your immune system with good diet, with Young Living essential oils, with good supplements, with proper thinking, okay, with proper thinking, then your immune system turns into Captain America, the guy, right? I'm totally doing a whole other thing about this, and I'm using that in the office because I literally just made that up, and I just realized that that's a good analogy. Boom, there you go. Boom to ya, Periscope. That's a guy on here that does it all the time. So, never mind. So, if you've seen the movie, what happens is they take this kid who's super passionate, and because of his passion, they want to turn him into the ultimate soldier. And so they turn him into a lab experiment, and they turn him into Captain America, who is indestructible, who can get shot by bullets, is super awesome, can basically run as fast as whatever, can fly through the air, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he's a superhero, and he fights in the World War II, I think is when it was set, and all this stuff. All right. So that strength is what the immune system can be. The weakness up front is what it normally is, and we get so upset when everything happens. We get so upset when we get all these things, or when we run fever, or when stuff happens, but then we don't give our body a chance to get to the Captain America stage. You see what I'm saying? Like we don't feed it correctly, or we don't let it rest enough, and that is my number one thing. I will be the first, right hand up, I'll be the first one to admit my biggest thing that I do not do is I don't let my system rest enough. And so if I'm going to shut down at all, it's because of being too tired, because I go all the time. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I run myself into the ground. And after a while, my system will shut down. Like this week, like my system starts to get tired. So that's why, like today, I came back. My plan was to do a scope with you guys around 3 o'clock. But you know what? I was sawing some logs at 3 o'clock because I had to reboot, okay? And that's important. So we're going to talk about that. So when you stress out, okay? When you stress out, we're going to do this again. I'm going to talk about this every single time because I want you guys to get it. It's this important. Increase stress, decrease immunity. Increase stress, decrease digestion. So if you're decreasing digestion, increased stress equals decreased absorption, which means you will be deficient in a lot of minerals that you need. Increase stress, increase anxiety. Increase stress, increase inflammation. Okay. Increase stress, decrease probiotics in your system. Increase stress, mess up your pH. You see what I'm saying? And that's just with emotional stress. I mean, we're not even talking about the diet stuff yet. I mean, we're not even talking about the things that you put in your system. That's just with you mentally between your ears trying to handle stress. All right? Now, you guys want to see my friend beside me? Look at this. Look at this diffuser going crazy. This diffuser pumps some of this in the air. Look at this. Look at these. Now, in that diffuser, I have a ton of thieves and orange oil, right? So it is smelling some cinnamon up on her. Whew, there it is. So that it helps to feed my system and support it, okay? And that's important. All right, so stress. So what can you do about stress? And let's talk about that just for a second, okay? And I think emotional stress is the one that people, emotional and mental, that people disregard the most, that creates the most havoc. Because part of the time, you don't have a healthy enough emotional system to be able to acknowledge what is emotionally stressful and acknowledge what you can do about it in order to try to make changes. That's number one. I think that's huge. Number two is you just think it's always normal. And so if it's normal, you don't want to be a baby and you don't want to complain about it. It just is what it is. And remember, there is a total difference between common and normal. Those are two totally different words, and I'm really big on being specific with our vocabulary. It is not normal to stress out so much you get sick. It is not normal to be so stressed that your digestive system is so messed up that you get diarrhea, constipation, or whatever, and it changes. It is not normal for you to stress out so bad that you have skin reactions and breathing problems. That is not normal. Is it common? Absolutely. Is it common all the time? Yeah, unfortunately, it's common a lot. It's not normal for your child to get so stressed out that they can't sleep at night and they have stomach pain. That is not normal. Is it common? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So the first step on that part of stress is just to acknowledge that it's there. Like, acknowledge it and just say, hey, I'm stressed out. Then the second step to this process, all right, the second step is to figure out what part of it you can control and what part of it you can't. So with any kind of emotional stressors, just like toxicity, let's talk about pollution, right? There's a certain type of pollution you can control, right? And there's certain types you can't. Like, you can control pollution in your family inside your home, like with your cleaning products and your perfumes and your makeups and that. You can control that type of pollution. You cannot control the crews out here building houses out next to our house that have exhaust going and they're dumping chemicals out here and they're creating cement and all that. You can't control that pollution, so you do the best you can around it, but you can't stress out about that all the time because you can't do anything about it. Does that make sense? So when you can qualify and you list out, okay, these are the things I'm stressed about. And as a family, it's a really good thing to look at. Ningxia, kombucha, hold on. It's all about making that sound. Makes it better. So if you can qualify what you're stressed out about, then you go, okay, I can actually control A, B, and C. If you can control A, B, and C, then you work on that. And that is fantastic because any decrease in stress in your system is going to be better. Capiche? That makes sense? Now, if you can't control it and you list it out, okay, and you list out the different things that you're stressed about and you're like, man, I can't control D, E, and F. If you can't control it and there's no control you have over that, or there's a person that you can't control and you're doing the best you can with you and you can't do nothing about them, then you do all you can with you and then you forget the rest and you totally give that to the Father and you let that be and you worry about the things you can control. That's all you can do. And that is my biggest tip on stress of the day. We could just stop the scope right there and that would be a bunch for you right on that. Okay? Now, is right brain or left brain stress different, or is stress just stress? Stress only involves the right side of the brain. So when you stress and you're getting stressed out, it increases the right brain activity. It increases sympathetic activity in your nervous system, which is right brain. So anything in the left side of the brain starts to get shut off and you start to lose function. So left brain functions are decision making, logical thinking, math. Okay, so like your kids that are like the homeschool kids, for you homeschoolers, that are like, man, they like doing all this other stuff. And then as soon as we do math, they go, merk. And when we get stressed out and we did something that morning and then their math goes, merk, and they can't do it, then that is a brain balancing issue. And so you can do different things to balance the brain to help with that. I'll do a scope for you guys on that, on homeschooling and brain balancing. That would be awesome. I think that would help out a lot. All right, so that's number one, stress. So handle what you can. Let go of what you can't. Take a tip from Elsa. Let it go. Let it go. You got it. You got to just roll with it. And then if you can't, you know that you just got to do things to support your system. I know that I'm dealing with stress all day long, right? I know that there's stress around me all day long with the way my system is set up because I'm a real linear thinking when it comes to the way my days work. I'm very right brain with relationships. Obviously, I'm like, right? But with the way that I run my schedule, it's very exact, it's very on time, and it's exact, it's linear, right? So when you have that, then I don't really acknowledge stress that much. I don't really acknowledge emotional stress, okay? And so it can eat on me. And if you're that person and you're like, I don't really even acknowledge it, I don't even really know that I'm stressed, you're stressed out. You're feeling it even if you don't feel it. Okay, so like you're dealing even if you're not feeling. Everyone has to deal with stress internally even if you don't feel the stress externally. Does that make sense? Even if you're not the one that's like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. Even though you're not that person, you still are dealing with it. And so it's going to create changes in the body and you have to support your system all day long. So I take things and use things to support my adrenal glands every day. I mean, I have to because I know that I'm putting stress on my system. I know it. I'm a stressful person. I mean, I just know that. You know what I mean? Cindy reminds me of that every day. No, I'm just kidding. No. But that's important. So go look at the adrenal videos. If you're new to these, I've done videos on the adrenal glands and on balancing the endocrine system and supporting it. It's on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Or go to the app, the new app. That's the Lifetime Family Wellness Center app. It's got the tree logo on it. And check it out. The videos are on there. Okay? All right. So let's talk about a couple other types of stressors. Okay? And let's go through these and explain how it can create a change to where your immune system doesn't work as well so that you can be prepared. All right? Now, the second type of stress is physical stress. So, two types. Physical injury, okay? Physical injury, and then a lack of activity. So this is too much of a bad. Physical injury would be like a bad physical stress. Lack of activity is too little of a good, okay? Too little of a good. Now, so if you have an injury, the body focuses on the injury to create an immune response and to create healing there. So if you've had an injury, right, then your body can't focus on the immune system as much because it has to divide its attention. So that's important. And that's important to remember. So if you have had something happen physically, then you need to pay attention. Concussion is a whole other thing, all right? And so concussion is a completely different thing. There's so much more to it. But that's like even more involved. So I'm talking about even just a sprained ankle, something that's like a mundane thing. It decreases the body's overall effectiveness because it's having to focus on something that's kind of the fire in the house at that moment. So pay attention to that and be prepared for that. So like your kids and your students who are playing sports. Let's say you guys have got kids that are in football, okay? So if they're in football or they're in basketball this fall, or you've got a daughter who's a cheerleader, and they have any kind of a physical change, or they're really sore, or they work out too hard and they're hurting, boost their immunity. Support their immunity, because that's when they're going to be the most susceptible. And the hardest thing, like for all of the guys that are in football, they're doing the worst amounts of their activity and the most things at the beginning of school when all the kids are coming back and getting sick and they're like completely exposed to all this stuff. Okay. Look at that and really pay attention. Don't discount that when you're worried about immunity. You'll discount that or the tweaked shoulder or whatever it is, and you can't figure out why you got this respiratory thing that came on in the lung thing, and it's because your body was having to like switch it up. So that's why a lot of times too, when people go to chiropractors, since this is what I am and what I do, and the largest reason why people will go to a chiropractor is because of some physical thing. They go and get that physical thing corrected, and all of a sudden their lungs are working better or they're feeling better and all this stuff. And they're like, I just don't understand that. I'm like, well, the nervous system controls everything. But the second side of that is, if you're not hurting, you can heal. That's it. I mean, like, let's just be real basic. I mean, if your body feels better, it feels better. You know what I mean? So that's important. All right. So paying attention to that. If you're not moving around enough, right, and you're not getting physical activity, then your circulation's not going to be as good. Your hormone function is not as good. Your sugar transfer is not as good. Your insulin levels don't regulate like they should. Your fat stores build up and you put more stuff into glycogen, and on and on and on and on and on. Now, you don't have to go do CrossFit every day. You don't have to do something intense and crazy, but doing some kind of intentional movement every day or every other day is vital. I mean, it's just really huge for the body. Even if you're just doing range of motion exercises and you're really moving the joints in the spine to be able to help the body function, then you're going to be helping yourself and boosting immunity, period, right? Increase circulation, increase immunity. Increase movement, increase immunity, period. Okay? All right. So let's talk about diet stressors, right? So diet stressors are a lot of stuff. Ask me about pregnancy at the end on the questions, because I'll go over a couple things. It's a really good question. Yes, stress, but let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about diet stuff, okay? We're going to talk about toxins first. Yes, sugar is the number one toxin that you're going to get in your diet that's going to decrease immunity. Absolutely. High fructose corn syrup is the crafty ninja that slips under the radar, that gets in, that messes it up even worse. Even worse, okay? High fructose corn syrup. Partially hydrogenated oils, all this stuff. It robs your body of the things you do need while putting things you don't in your system. Every time, you got to do the sound. So that's one thing to really talk about to start with the diet, okay? If you have something like high sugar that gets inside your diet, there's two problems with that. One, it's competing for good sugars and good carbs in the body. So if you get a toxin in, it will compete for the good thing your body needs first. Second, it's a toxin, and so you're adding something bad into your diet, and so it's creating change and it's creating havoc, okay? I can totally do a scope on that another time for sure. I'll do a baby steps on that. So sugar itself, like a tablespoon of sugar, will decrease the immune system for a half hour. It'll depress the immune system for over a half hour, just that one little tablespoon of sugar, okay? And so if you keep having tablespoons of sugar all day long, which everyone does, then it decreases the immune system all day long. I mean, think about it. Like, if your immune system is trying to get to the top, and it's like sugar. It's trying to get to the top, Sprite. Trying to get to the top, smoothie that's got a lot of sugar. Trying to get to the top, chocolate. Trying to get to the top, sugar. And you get it way down here, then below y'all's comments is where the body can't function. Up here at the top of these hearts, this is optimal immune function. So if we can keep it up here floating at the top of the hearts, then that's awesome. But as we're adding sugar in, your level of function goes way down. Any sugar is sugar if it's not coming along with like the fruit that has the fiber in it. But yeah, of course, the organic coconut this, organic sucranot that is better because it's not dyed. It's way better because it's not processed. White sugar is obviously the worst thing, but it's still sugar, okay? Now, high fructose corn syrup. The reason that high fructose corn syrup is so intensely bad, one, it's genetically modified, which is scary, okay, period. If you don't agree with that, then don't listen to my scopes and go on to somebody else's and go watch Saturday Night Live, okay? Because you're wrong. But it's scary, and that's a bad deal. You can do all your research on that you want, okay? Now, the other side, not even counting the genetically modified thing, the other side of high fructose corn syrup is the fact that if it's really high in fructose like this, like high fructose corn syrup, okay, the corn syrup is the bad part on its own. The high fructose part, fructose is not regulated by insulin. Okay, so fructose can get through the cell wall and it will get right into the cell with no regulation of insulin, so you never know when you've had enough. The reason that they put so much high fructose corn syrup in food is to make you eat more of it, because you don't even know when you've eaten enough, and you'll eat too much. And the only way you know you've had enough, this is the truth, the only way you'll know that you had enough Cheetos, right, is because your stomach swells. Not because the insulin tells you you've had enough. So the way that it should happen, the way that your body tells you you've eaten enough, is that as you get a ton in, then the insulin goes, ding, 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 you've had enough food. And then your body goes, ooh, I've had enough. Well, with high fructose corn syrup, all right, high fructose corn syrup, it just keeps pounding into the cell, and the insulin doesn't even see it. It gets right across the line, right across the Army's defenses, and it never knows it's there, literally. Now, you guys asked about, you're doing a good job at thinking the next step in. You asked about honey and stuff like that. Honey and agave nectar and all those are really high in fructose. So are they genetically modified? No. Are they still a sugar? Yes. Are they better if you get them raw? Absolutely. Is it good in regulated quantities? Yeah. It's not something that I would be like drinking, like chugging honey all the time. That's not what it's for. But yeah, using a little bit of honey to do the sweetening instead of using white sugar, especially if you do like Crystal and Varick Birchfield in Kansas, they like have their own honey farm. They have their bees and stuff. That's awesome. I mean, like, you're getting tons of support for the immune system out of that alone. But is it still high fructose? Yes. Will you still not know you've had enough? Right. I mean, it's just not regulated like that, like in the body. So you're not genetically designed to eat tons of it. So you just use it sparingly, And plus, with honey, you don't have to use nearly as much because it's really sweet. All right. So that's the toxins on the diet. Okay. So remember. So let's talk about that just a second before I go on to the other thing. So let's look at the fall season in school. When your kids go back to school, the worst possible thing that happens, and we have to talk to our school about this too every year, is they go to school, and what do teachers reward your kids with? Hey, little Johnny. Hey, Harper, my son. Hey, Harper, you did a fantastic job, man. Have some M&Ms. Have a sucker. Have a Tootsie Roll. Right? Have this. Right? All this stuff. And all of the sugar decreases immunity. And then all these kids are out sick. I just don't understand where the school districts think that this is okay. That's crazy. I'm like, give them toys, give them stickers, give them nothing. I got a high five when I was growing up. That's it. Hey, good job. You didn't get in trouble because you did good. Yes. Where was that? Now it's have some Skittles. Ellie came in last night and she said, yeah, I helped pick up all this stuff and I helped all my friends. She's 4. And it helped all my friends. And so I got the choice between a Skittle and a toy. And we go, what'd you pick? She goes, a Skittle. We're like, of course you did. Because it's like crack for kids. I mean, it's crazy, So giving them sugar all the time decreases the immune system. And it messes up their emotions and their neurotransmitters. And then they get in trouble for not being able to pay attention. That doesn't make sense, So the other times and the times that you need to pay attention as a parent is you go, okay, let's say Halloween, okay? Halloween and Harvest Festival time at the churches. It's like the worst candy time of the year next to Easter or next to Valentine's Day, right? So around the holidays, we try to send our kids with replacement things that are good for them so that they can have stuff and they can enjoy it, but they're not getting all the sugar that they were going to get, right? So, I mean, we've tried this. Now, they're older and you can't keep it all away from them, but what you have to do is that time of the year, their immune system is going to get kicked in the face. So you have to support it more. So we start supporting them like crazy a couple weeks before those holidays to make sure that their body can handle it. That's huge, right? So here's one thing that we've done with our kids, and I'm going to pass this tip along to y'all, and it really does work for our kids. They're getting older now, and we really do honor what they want to do. We just walk them through the consequences and the choices. Up to 2 years old is the time that the brain's developing. So here's my thought process on this. Up until 2 years old, the brain is still developing all its synapses and all its connections. At 2 years old, the brain is the size it's going to be for the rest of that kid's life. Okay? Now, up to 2 years old, you've actually realized and connected half of all the neurology in your brain. You actually access half of your brain at 2 years old. The rest of your life, you're trying to maximize the other 50% of your brain. How insane is that? So if you can do the best you possibly can up to their 2 or 3, then the chances of them having a ton of issues with it after that are way lower because you've already built their immune system, you've already set the foundation, you've already built their gut, you've already done all these things. Now, if you did not do this, there is grace in that. I'm not saying you didn't do a good job. This is just my theory on it, and this is what I've done with my kids because Cindy and I are kind of crazy about this, and so our family's made fun of us for a long time about how much seaweed our kids ate and stuff like that. And we didn't let them have chips and things like that until they were like 3 or 4 years old. They didn't have any wheat until they were like 3 or 4 years old. They didn't watch TV until they were older, that kind of stuff. So there's things that really work to set up the foundation. So the thing that I do with our kids around the holidays is I negotiate with them. I want my kids to understand the power of negotiation early. I'm an entrepreneur. We've, started and run 6 different businesses before, 4 at a time, 1 time, all this stuff. And so we're not new to small business or to starting our own. So I want my kids to understand this early. So this is how crazy I am about this. What I started doing with the kids when they were really little is every year we go trick-or-treating. We go and we do all this stuff. But before, I have a talk with them and I say, hey, when we get done, Daddy will offer you a certain amount of money for your candy so that you can go get a toy at Target, and we'll go to the store and buy you a toy if you want to sell it back to Daddy. If you don't, Daddy gets to pick which pieces of candy you get to eat, and you only get 2. So what happens is we go trick-or-treating, we come back, and they dump out their toys. I've done this every year, and this really does work, and they really get it. So what I do with them is I say, okay, Harper, and we negotiate, and I have them negotiate with me because this is a key skill as an adult, right? And so I say, okay, you had, and I count them out. I'm like, all right, you had this many candies, so I'll give you $1 for all of them. And Harper, now you should watch this. Harper goes, I want $10. He does. He'll go, I want $10 because he knows what toys cost. He's not a dummy, right? And he's almost 7. And so I'm like, I'll go 5. And he's like, nope. He's like, $10. And so then I'll come up with him and I'll have him work on it and I'll give him the money. Like I'll reward him and I pay him and I buy the candy back from him. And then we either donate the candy or just trash it. And so we don't take it to the office and give people, I hate that about health offices. Welcome to the dentist, have a sucker. Okay. So we buy the candy from them and then we take them to the store and reward them for making a good choice. I mean, that's what you do in life anyways, right? And so we get rid of the candy. If they choose not to take the money, and they have done this, and that is totally okay because I give them that freedom. If they can't make the choice on it, then that's not a negotiation. And if they choose to not take the money and they don't want a reward and they want the candy, I get to pick 2 pieces for them so that they don't pick Starburst and stuff with major dyes. I'll pick a piece of chocolate, right? And then something else that they can eat, and that's all they get. And I still throw away the rest. So they actually either can get a couple pieces or they can get a toy. They can get a reward. So that really works. But really pay attention around the holidays because that's when their systems are going to be attacked the most. All right, let's talk about the other side of dietary stressors when it leads to immune function. Deficiency. So if you're not getting enough nutrients, that is a problem, and your immune system doesn't have what it needs to fight off stuff, like not getting enough water, like being dehydrated. How many times do I have you guys come into the office and y'all say, oh man, I've got XYZ, this happened today. And this patient comes in and she's like, oh, I'm feeling this, I feel this way, and my energy this, and blah, blah, blah. And I go, how much water are you drinking? And she goes, not enough. And I go, are you taking your fish oil? I go through the core 4 every time. Because if you're not doing that, then why would I give you this crazy solution? Because you're not even feeding the body the way you need. You're not even putting gas in the car. Why am I going to start tinkering around with the engine and figuring out what's going on with the engine if you haven't put gas in it? You know what I'm saying? Hold on. So she came in and I said, are you drinking enough water? And she said, no. I said, okay. I said, are you taking your fish oil? No. Okay. Are you doing a probiotic? Ooh, I forgot. Are you doing your greens? Yes, I'm doing my greens consistently. Okay, good. So the core 4 supplements that I recommend for everyone, and if you go back, I've got videos, and it's on the app, Lifetime Family Wellness Center app. It's on the YouTube channel. There's the core 4 supplements. It's fish oil, vitamin D, probiotics, and a greens drink or multi-greens or whatever. But we normally use Pro Alpha Greens for a drink, you know, because we like the powder on that. And so that's huge. And so that's the core 4. That's the basics that everyone needs. Kids, adults, everyone. And so I talk about that in some other videos. Here's the deficiency one so you guys can get the screenshot. Deficiency. Remember, if you don't have enough of good, that's just as much stress as too much bad. So lack of nutrients and lack of water. So if they're not getting enough, different nutrients from their food because they're eating too much junk, then they're not going to have enough things to run the body and their system is not going to stay up. Okay. And that's huge. All right. Now let's talk about one other thing that does not allow the immune system work. This is huge. And this is a big deal. I have not done a scope on water for you guys. I will do that as a baby steps one. And we're going to go over it. But I haven't done one specifically on that yet. Okay. Ningxia is not a core 4. It's an awesome, icing on the cake. It's awesome for me, and I take it every day. It's a part of my core 6. I have more than 4 or my core supplements, but it is not a core 4 for everyone. So not everyone can afford Ningxia. Let's be honest. Not everyone's in Young Living, and that's totally okay. So there's a bunch of you guys on here that are not Young Living distributors, or you're not Young Living customers, and that is okay. If you are, Ningxia Red is fantastic, and I love it, and I take it every day. But if you're not, that is okay, and that's why the core 4 is fish oil, vitamin D, probiotics, greens. If you're doing that alone, start with that and work your way out from there, okay? And then give yourself grace, all right? Give yourself grace. All right, so here is one of the other big ones that we just talked about. Decreasing sleep decreases immunity. I'm going to say it again, and I'm saying it for myself. Decreasing sleep decreases immunity. Decreasing sleep decreases immunity, okay? So if you're not getting enough sleep, one of the biggest side effects of not enough sleep, and I've got videos on the YouTube channel on sleep. I did a whole, May, in the month of May was National Sleep Month, and I talked about sleep. And we talked about the mattresses that we recommend the most, the IntelliBeds, they're amazing. And I talked about all the different things that are involved with sleep, okay? It's really important. Ask these questions in a second, okay, and I'll answer them. So if you decrease sleep, one of the main things that happens, I'll give you 2, but the main thing is you can't balance out your insulin. Your insulin levels get really messed up if you're not sleeping well. If you can't balance your sugar and if your insulin is out of control, your immune system can't be normal. It just can't. Okay. Now, lower my tablet when showing it. Okay. Dig, 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 dig. Is that better right there? Decrease sleep. I'm trying to get it above the comments, and so there you go. Decrease sleep, decrease immune system function. So messing up the insulin will decrease immunity. Okay. The other thing is you cannot repair effectively at night if you're not sleeping enough, right? So let's talk about things you can control. Staying up too late watching Netflix. You can control that. Okay. You don't have to do that. Waiting to do everything until everybody's in bed. You can control that. You can get things done the rest of the day. I know it's hard. It's simple, but it's just not easy, right? Things you cannot control. Having a newborn baby and needing to get up and nurse them. You can't control that. You're not going to get the sleep you need, okay? And it's a part of that season of your life, so you need to boost your immunity. You need to boost your system so that you have more as a young mom and a dad. Because like last night, Cindy really needed sleep last night. She was toast. She had worked yesterday for me. It was a stressful day. Harper had to go to the doctor to get staples in his head. I was running fever, all that stuff, right? So Cindy was stressed out. She was exhausted. So last night, I stayed up with Tate, our baby that we've adopted. I stayed up with him all night, and he sleeps okay, but he gets up. But I kept him so she could sleep. Now, not everybody has that option, and since he's adopted, he's on bottle, so I can feed him, and it's not her having to, get up every single time to nurse him. But when you are, it's just a part of that season, and just be okay with it. All right. So that's a big deal. Recommended. Here's the recommended, and go watch the video on this because it's really fascinating. Recommended is around an average of 8, but it depends on every single person. Some people need closer to 6. Some people need 10. Okay. The way that you figure out is you go 2 or 3 nights, right? 2 or 3 nights, like setting your alarm at a certain time. Then you go one morning, like a Saturday morning when you're not going to have to go anywhere, and you don't set your alarm at all. You go to bed at the normal time, do your normal routine. You do not set an alarm, and whatever time you wake up that day, that's kind of a really good average. Like if you sleep 10 or 11 hours, that's typically what you need. Cindy needs a lot more sleep than I do. I typically get less than 6. I'm gonna be honest, but 6 is only what I need. Cindy needs a lot more. She needs closer to 10. And so that's really important. There's a lot of oils that help to reduce stress and relax your body out and help you with sleep. We're not going to go over a lot of those. And just make sure you're staying compliant when you're talking in your classes, and use the dietary ones and figure out the rest. You can look it up. It's a big deal. Okay. Yes, awesome blend. Okay, ask me a couple questions, and let's answer a couple questions before I log off. Helpful? 1, hearts, 1s, if this is helpful. This is giving you guys a little bit of wow moments. Okay. Well, thanks, Oily Gal. You're awesome. 1s. Yes, helpful. Hearts. Good. Now remember, when you're watching a replay on this, you can tap the screen for hearts on the replay as well. Okay. Pregnancy. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Let's talk about pregnancy, and then we'll talk about healthy habits. Okay. Good. I'm glad that the 1s are flying. That's what I need to know. And I need to know if I need to change some stuff for you guys. I want you to understand this. So pregnancy. Is pregnancy stressful on a mom's body? Mo Debley. Okay. Pregnancy is very stressful on her body, even though it is a perfectly perfect is the best way to say it, creationally awesome situation that her body was designed to do. It's stressful because you need to eat more than you normally do, and most moms don't. You need a lot more calories. Like you're needing like 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, and most moms don't eat on that. You need a whole lot more water. You need to balance your adrenal glands out. Now, the thing about pregnancy that's more stressful really is that during pregnancy, you get more stress physically because pregnancy reveals physical things, whereas it hides hormonal things, even though those are still an issue and it will come up later on. So if you have endocrine imbalance and your adrenal glands or your thyroid are off, thyroid can get more stressed out. Adrenal glands will just act like, ta-da, and sometimes you'll feel like you're doing okay, even though you're not. And so you still need to really work on that, and you need to really support it, because then when you get to the end of the pregnancy and you get ready to have the baby, then you'll tank. And then that's when you have stuff that comes up afterwards. So yeah, so you do a lot of boosting during pregnancy, and the more you boost your immunity during pregnancy, like probiotics are huge during pregnancy, because then it increases those antibody markers on the inside of the placenta that I talked about last scope, so that the baby gets more antibodies. How do you balance with very little on the sleep? You either take naps, or you get more sleep, or you kind of deal with a lack. How important is vitamin C? It's huge because it's a really good immune booster and immune supporter. That's why I have Super C. That this whole bottle is empty because I downed almost the whole bottle yesterday. It wasn't a full bottle, so don't freak out. But I downed a bunch of these yesterday. Okay? People over 60, you need more immune support because the acid in the stomach is less. Hydrochloric acid goes down, so you absorb less B vitamins, and so some of the enzymatic processes are less, plus circulation normally is slower. And when the hormones get out of balance, your body can take on more things, so you just keep boosting. There is not a Young Living supplement for vitamin D that has enough in it. Omega Giz has a little bit in it, but it's not enough. So I don't have one here with me, but I use Innate Choice Vitamin D. I can pull up a picture of it. We carry it in the office. I can get it for you there. But it's a dropper, and there's 500 IUs per drop, and so then you do a certain amount. Vitamin D, and as far as amounts, for kids under the age of 5, 500 to 1,000 IUs is enough. That's like 1 drop a day. If they're over the age of 5, like let's say around the age of 10, then they need about 1,500. Adults or people that are helping to boost their system need around 10 to 12,000. Fish oil is still recommended if you have a fatty liver. Absolutely, but you need to support the liver. Private message me and I will help you. And I'm glad to do phone consults with you guys. You guys have asked me about that. Absolutely. That's always an option. And if you need to get a hold of me, go to the website. I'll put it up again. The new master formula is coming on September from Young Living. I think they added vitamin D. Well, I hope there's enough. If there's not enough, you still need extra. So again, as we're answering questions, family-wellness.com. Family-wellness.com is the website so that you guys can go check out the office Facebook page. I'll also put the new app that we just launched on there. But I put the app on the office Facebook page, and I'm pinning it to the top right now. So you guys will see it when you go to the office Facebook page. Good. I'm so glad that you enjoy the scopes because I want you guys to enjoy them, because if you're going to enjoy them, you're going to remember them. Was there a green supplement from YL? Young Living has one called Multigreens, and it's good. And so, yeah, it's a good one. YL has omegas. Yes. Omega Gi's is from Young Living. Sun for vitamin D? Yeah, absolutely. Getting out in the sun is important. You're just never going to convert enough. Yay. Get that app. Use it and give me feedback. You're not going to offend me. I want to know, like, this is dumb. Change this. We're going to adapt this thing, and I've got my team working on it a lot. Good, good, good. Great scope. You're welcome. Hearten it up. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys a ton because it gives me good chance to really adapt these scopes for y'all because you give me good feedback. I mean, I love that. Okay. I'm answering questions as fast as I can in messages. I stay caught up pretty well every day. If I don't get to you in 48 hours, boost your message because I either just didn't see it, but normally I will get to you within 48 hours. That's my goal. Enzymes is really good. Yes, they're good enzymes. Awesome info. Great. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to let you guys go boost your immunity with some good food, and help that. You're welcome. Yes, I'm feeling better. Can I scope brain health? Absolutely. But with that, why don't you private message me and I'll help you with that even more. Good. Share away. And I appreciate you guys sharing it. I just want to get the word out and help people. Do I have to take fish oil with a meal? It will help you absorb it better. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you guys for getting on. Thank you guys for learning. Thank you for trying and asking good questions. And just keep digging and keep asking why. Why is this coming up? Why am I feeling this? Why am I hearing that? Why am I doing this? And if it doesn't match physiology, if it doesn't match creation, if it doesn't match scripture, then it ain't right. And stop. Okay? Health is simple. Life is simple. Faith is simple. Relationships are simple. They're just not easy. All of it. Love you guys. Have a great night.